Hey Tubesters, it's Aaron Forsong, the Mormon Mystic, coming to you from the Mysterious Online. And today I want to talk to you about something I actually found on Pinterest. This was, I think December, or sometime at the end of 2017. And I really love it. And I'll admit I've kind of forgotten to review them. But I really think it's a great way to, as R.N. Lynch said, bring the mundane, I think she said bring the mundane back in the magic, or put the mundane in the magic. One of those. I'm trying to fix this camera so that way we're not seeing too much of my closet, but not seeing the fan. And I actually did try and clean up a little bit. I know my bed still looks a mess, but I'm trying here, people. There's a lot going on in my life, and I do want to do a video talking about it, but it's kind of still up in the air. So since I don't have all the information, that's why I'm not talking about it right now. Okay, it's not because I'm hiding something. But anyway, I want to talk to you about, I call this the Pentacle Plan. I don't know if it's actually called something. I'm going to try to remember to link the, I believe it was a blog post. But I'll have to find it again. There's a hair on there. But I just happened to stumble upon this on Pinterest, and it was about, each section corresponding to an aspect of your life. And I just thought that was so cool. And I kind of changed it up a bit. Like, the way that they had it is that, well, first of all, I don't think they had the symbols. But they had spirit, like this section was for spirit, but then this was air, this would be earth, and like this was water, and then this would be fire, and I was like, that's just kind of weird. So I kind of just like kept them all together, and I also did it in accordance to how I placed the elements with, I don't know if this can be reversed for you, but I always, when I'm like doing the invoking, like the opening and invoking, because I do 4 types of pentacles, but when I do the opening and an invoking pentacle, I do air, water, earth, fire, and spirit back down to air, and then for reverse I do fire, earth, water, air, spirit back down to fire, and then that would be like a closing pentacle. And then for banishing, it's basically the same thing. In opening, banishing would be air, water, earth, fire, spirit, but with the spirit point down, and then the same fire, earth, water, air, spirit, back to fire for the closing banishment. Anyway, that was just a little fun fact since I talked about it. But I did tweak it up a bit, like with one coloring them. Well, actually, they were already colored in the picture shown, but like I said, this was supposed to be spirit, and I just kept them together. It just seemed to be more cohesive and more aesthetically pleasing. And I think I need to have it facing me so I can look at it. I did add something, because for the air section, they had just career, but I included another aspect called finances, because sometimes finances are a little separate from career. Like, you make money which is pertaining to your finances from your career, yes, but I don't know, I just kind of feel like it was a little more in depth by putting that section there. And I won't read to you all of my goals, because one, you were probably able to read them with it being paused, but also because there are so many, it could get kind of confusing. So basically what I added, besides, keeping the sections relatively close to the point and the symbols, was that I decided to make the central shield, the pentacle, I call it the pentacle shield. That's something I think I learned from Annie, from Mirth and Reverence. She talked about how this was the shield, and I don't remember, I think it's one of her earlier videos. But anyway, I decided to make this kind of like a central goal, and this would hold my word for the year that I feel kind of correlates with all the, so the word of the year would kind of be like my overall goal. And then all these point goals, or goal points, or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what to call it right now. But all of these other goals, sub-goals, I guess, would be in reference to that central goal. And so for me, originally I was stealing, but not really stealing, using for myself someone else's word of the year, which was refine. But then I ended up, I was intuitively told of another word, a different word rather, called share. Excuse me. And then I realized, you know what, why can't I have both? And so I kind of I said, okay, is this word supposed to replace refine? And it turned out that it's kind of be both. So it's kind of interesting because they work very well together. So my central goal for 2018 is refine and share. And basically every Samhain, or around Samhain, within Samhain tide, let's put it that way, I'm going to be making a new, is this upside down? No, it's sideways. I'm going to be making a new Pentacle Plan. Now, I'll admit, I made this a little more around Yule. I think it was in Yuletide, December, January, when I made this. But had I known about it earlier, I would have made it around Samhain tide. Yeah, so I just thought that was really cool. I wanted to share it with you guys, and I'm going to read to you the sections, and like I said, I'll also read to you some of the goals that I have personally in those sections. And I'm going to tell you the system that I use to kind of keep me in check, and let me know where I am in reference to the goal. So, like I said, the central one is, oh, and if you're wondering how I made it look so nice, all I did was use a ruler and a pencil first, and a bowl. And so I drew it in pencil, and then I went over it in pen, and then I just... what I suggest is that you do all the pen work first. So first go in pencil and use your ruler to make it as nice as you want it, and trace a bowl that's the size that you want it to be. Did I use this one? No, I used the bowl that I'm using as my mortar right now, because my mortar, well, actually the pestle to my mortar broke, but the mortar was really badly dinged. It was soapstone, so it wasn't very sturdy. But anyway, where was I with that? Oh, yeah, get some type of circle shape, and let's see, how big is this around? I say this is about 6 to 8 inches. It's kind of wet because I collected some rainwater. Ta-da! I need to filter it though, but we're out of paper towels. So, oh my gosh, I need to get some sleep. My eyes are so puffy, and the skin is getting all saggy and wrinkly. I'm not even 25 yet, that's not good. But yes, I need to filter this, and I'm thinking about using this, or some of this, in my artisan bread, which I was going to make today, but I'm out of flour. So, and I haven't had time to get the stuff that I need, so I think I'm going to make that be something that I'll do next Tuesday. But I need to do it soon. Anyway, so my central goal is refine and share. So basically, and it's in that order too. So basically I need to refine my life. And this kind of ties into, this is what led me to minimalism. And that's going to be another video for a different day that talks about my minimalism within the craft. But this is what led me to minimalism. It's how to refine my life and make it not necessarily bare minimum, or even the bare necessities per se, but kind of just make it less overwhelming and chaotic, and get rid of the unnecessary things. And so I guess that would be bare necessities, but I don't know, kind of more about making it more productive, more easy flowing, removing clutter. So decluttering and minimalism were inspired by the word refine. And then sharing was kind of in reference to YouTube and Amino and Facebook and Instagram, and stuff like that. Also joining the coven, that was a part of my sharing. And sharing, what I've realized is it's not so much just me sharing, but also allowing others to share. That's something that I've recently come to understand. Sorry about that, but anyway, I had this flea and I was trying to get rid of it. But yeah, so that's my central goal for 2018 is refine my life and share it, and like put myself out there and refine my life so that way I can share it. Also, it's kind of like refining my practice, so that's why I'm working on a grimoire, and like I'm refining it, like figuring out the exact words that I want to use, figuring out exact practices that I want to like rinse and repeat, and that way when I want to share my practice, I can, because it'll be cohesive enough to understand it and to share it with others, especially to my children. So that's kind of where that stands. And then I'll start off with air. I'll read it as if I was invoking them. Okay? So for air, the category is, it was originally just career, but I added finances. And actually, I'll tell you my system first. So the first thing that I do is I do bullet points, and I try and make it relatively as short but still understandable. So anywhere from like, I don't know, 1 to 3 words, 4 max. I'm basically keeping it as short as possible so I have room to write different goals. Or more goals, rather. Where was I going with that? So that's kind of like how it starts off. And then when I realize I'm kind of like within the process of working on that goal or whatever, I circle it, and then when I am done with it, I'll cross it out. If it's just crossed out, that's usually because I changed my mind or quit early or whatever. Sometimes with some of them, I crossed it out before I came up with the system to circle it, but that's basically my system right there, just those two things. So for example, I have WIU, and that's because I was considering going there to college or college in general, and then I realized that wasn't for me, that I was really just trying to live in someone else's paradigm. And if you want, I can do a video talking about how I decided to not go to college and why I decided not to go to college. I would really love to make that video, so I hope you would want to hear it. So I'm trying to think of, I think I'll share 2 for each section. So I won't count that one because it's not one of my goals. But so one of my career financial goals that I'm wanting to do is financial independence, and the other one I'll share is, oh, I forgot, I spelled that wrong. Create a planning system. And so this is basically a way that I want to kind of like create a way to be organized, is basically what I'm trying to say. So to water, the category is like home and hearth. So this is kind of like domestic life, basically. So this would be family, this would be any household chores or bills, or organizing your house or whatever, stuff like that, decluttering. Okay, I think with this one I'll share 3 or 4 because I have a few of them. So one of them is to control clutter, and I'm going to be sharing 4 because 3 of them are kind of like relatively similar. And this is one that I circled because this is kind of one that at the time I was in the process of doing it, but it was creating a cleaning schedule throughout the week, and then create an organized system. I'm not at the organized system part yet, but then another one that I'll just share all of them because there's only 5. So ancestral/DNA, this is something I wanted to do. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but it was a goal that I set for myself. And this was all made before I joined Mormonism. So, like, I want to stress that because it's going to be kind of cool. Because I was thinking that in order to do my ancestral DNA, I would have to do, like, Ancestry.com, genealogy, 23andMe or whatever it is, or... that's kind of what I was planning on doing. In fact, I was planning on buying those, having the money to buy those as my, like, birthday gift to myself, but it ended up not working out. But basically, I'm kind of learning my ancestry, well, one, through my family, because on Facebook, but also through Ancestry.com and Family Search, because of family history, which is basically genealogy, but also like doing spiritual work for the dead. That's basically it in a nutshell. And so it's interesting how that is playing out. And then the last one is learn to love my space. That's something I want to do. That's something that kind of I think will. I mean, it can happen throughout the whole thing, the whole process of decluttering and cleaning schedule and all that. But I think it's going to be most prominent after I create the organized system. So the next one is Earth. And that's tied to the category of wellness. So this is like health and body, basically. And so this is like things that, so wellness, it's health and body, but so health would be like emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical health. That's basically what that is. More so your physical and like mental health, because they affect more, but it does include the emotional and spiritual health as well. And so I have two here that I was circling, that I circled, and it was meditation and yoga. And I'll share one more. I'll share two more. Guitar and art. So basically I want to like learn how to play guitar, get into that music, and also get back into art, which I've kind of been doing with the art magic, with like things like this. And for a while there I was kind of doing bullet journaling, but that didn't really play as well as I thought it would. I might try and revisit it later, but right now it's just not working. And art has kind of been working in like my sigil work too, but I'll address that more later. So next one is fire, and that's all about your relationships. And so basically I'll share all four of these. So basically it's make physical friends. This is one that I circled. So that was something I wanted to do. I wanted to make physical friends. And I've kind of done that within the church. So I kind of thought that was cool, especially with, since there's this YSA that goes on, which is Young Single Adult Activity. Which basically, what's really cool, one of the things I really love about Mormonism is that they address people as a whole, and they also address them as groups, and they also address them individually. And I really love how they, kind of break down community like that, where it's like we're a ward family, but then it's like there's things for young people, young single people, and young married people, and there's things for like the little children. And it's just like I really love how they they don't just force you. It's like, okay, we're together, but we're always together, and that's all it ever is. It's like, no, like I'm a young person, which is different from an older person and a younger person. And so I like how they address those things. They also break it down into like male and female. So it's like you get young males. Well, actually, the males are like pretty much all together, and so it'll be like all adult males, and then all like younger males, and then like children males. So it's kind of like four groups of men, and same with women. But it's really cool how they break it up and really like kind of give everyone their own little like a community and then sub communities. So that was something I really like. So that was something I wanted to do, was make physical friends, because I can always make friends online, but I wanted to make some physical friends. And another thing that I crossed off the list that was kind of like completed was joining a coven. That was something that I was thinking about doing before I found the coven that I did. I did leave it because it ended up becoming a payment thing, and I don't really agree with paying to be in a coven. Whether if I have the money or not is not important or relevant. I just don't agree with paying it, but I'm going to be sharing that in my Coven experience video, which hopefully I'll have time to record today. The next one is self-love and self-care. This one I've been struggling with a little bit, but I have been kind of doing that with some daily spiritual practice and with foot soaking and with kind of doing like beauty magic with like hygiene and making my own hygienic supplies like a cleansing serum and facial scrubs and foot soaks and all that good stuff. And then the other one is staying connected. And this is kind of relative, but it's more about like when I do make physical friends, trying to stay connected and also stay connected to any online communities that I establish, I guess. And then the last group is spirit, and this is all about your spirituality. So I'll just share all 5 of them. I've been pretty much sharing all of them, but so I have 3 that I'm circled, and it's because they're what I'm working on now. Well, I was working on them at the time, but I kind of fell out, but I'm currently working on them. So knowledge of sigils, so that kind of ties into the wellness, which is art, and I've recently been honing even more deeply on my sigil magic. Tarot is another one I circled, and numerology. I'll admit, out of the 3, numerology has kind of been like the least, because it's kind of hard to find like a shitload of information on numerology without having to buy a book. I'm not in a place of buying a book right now because of minimalism and because of other reasons that I don't want to just like build up more stuff right now. I want to deal with the stuff that I have. And the other 2 are to compile all acquired info in my BOC. This means like all my Book of Mirrors, all my notebooks. I want to like, this kind of ties into the refining aspect. I want to refine it and put it in either my grimoire, which I didn't have at the time written on here, or my Book of the Craft. So that's kind of one of my other goals. And then the other one is immerse in different paths, especially Christianity. And this kind of ties in to some things. I don't know if I mentioned it on this channel, but I have mentioned it before, just in life and whatever, about heart healing, and wanting to have heart healing towards Christianity, and because of having a negative experience with it. And I should probably share that too, but I won't be doing that today. So that's my Pentacle Plan for 2018. I really encourage you to do that, to make one for yourself, because it's really good to kind of see your goals. It's a good way to put the mundane in the magic. It really helps you focus on what you want to manifest. And you can always make more than one. So like if you find that you've filled it up with goals and you've succeeded in all of them and or changed your mind about wanting to do them, you can always, like, when it's, you can't fit anymore and you're done with it, you can make a new one even before the year actually ends. And you can also save these, or you can do like a release ritual with them where you burn it and release it back to spirit, and like maybe sprinkle the ashes in a form of a gratitude. I mean, like, it's really cool how you can take this mundane thing and make it a magical experience. And that's what I really feel practical magic is all about. Not necessarily the movie, but like being a practical magician or a practical witch, or even a mundane witch, I guess you could say. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. This video was much longer than I thought it would be. I thought it would only be like 10-15 minutes. But yeah. So I really hoped that you found that useful. Like I said, check the link below. I'll try and find the, at least the Pinterest post, if not the blog post. I think if I find the Pinterest post, I should be able to find the blog post, because they usually link it together. Like you have this like visit button or whatever. So yeah, make sure to check that out. It's really cool. You can see the original image of what the Pentacle Plan looks like. You'll also be able to know if it's called a Pentacle Plan or if I'm coining that word myself. And you can get some story about it, and it's really, really cool. I love it. So grateful that I found this. Yeah, So if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. If you gave it a thumbs down, please tell me why in the comments. You can either email me why or write it in the comments below or tell me on social media. I mean, it doesn't matter. But I like to know. That's really why I'm asking you guys to do those things. I really like to get that feedback, see how my content's being received, kind of see like if there's something that you don't like, is it something that I'm willing to change and maybe make myself better on YouTube? And with talking about my social media, I'm on Amino. I'm in multiple groups on Amino, so I'm sure you'll find me. Obviously the witchy pagan ones, obviously minimalism and bohemian, tiny house. I'm not active on tiny house, and I haven't really been active on Amino other than liking and saving posts and even sometimes commenting, just because life's been really busy. Been very active. Let me word it that way. Whew, startled me. But I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. I'm going to try and make sure that all those are linked below, so if you want to, you can follow them. Follow me on them. Feel free to subscribe and become a member or a sapling of the Forest fam. If you're not comfortable with all my content, because I do a lot on here, or I'm going to be talking about minimalism and veganism and, my spiritual practice, and I'm going to be talking about Bible journaling and Mormonism, or my specific experience and practice of Mormonism. So if you're not comfortable with subscribing to the whole channel, feel free to check out my playlist, so that way if there's something there that you find interesting, you can subscribe to one of those playlists, and then you'll be notified of the whenever I do a video, which won't be all the time. So if you're following a playlist, it's going to be more sporadic than if you're following my channel. So I just want to let you know, I do try to be consistent with uploading Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Sometimes because of internet or availability with making recordings, I'm not able to do that. But that's kind of the general consensus. So, I think that's it. So thank you so much for watching, and as always, abundant and eternal blessing. Mwah.